should you get and build Ulpianus? Short answer, yes. Long answer, this entire video.
We meet again. This method of contact that you are imposing upon me, is it Rhodes Island's standard treatment? Or perhaps it is you trying to confirm if my sense of self has already begun to change. Ulpianus, Abyssal Hunter.
お前が望む結果を見せてやろう。行くぞ。
Ulpianus, former consul of Adios Academy of Technology, former lead researcher of the Abyssal Hunter project, the first Abyssal Hunter, and was once the commander of the Abyssal Hunter organization. That was also noted to be Skadi's team captain. Much like his fellow hunters, Ulpian has an almost perfect physical exam result. While it is said he's not as fast as Gladier, or has unimaginable physical strength as Skadi, but his fighting method and weapon choice pretty much make up for what he lacks. Additionally, Skadi said he is a very good singer, and is also a composer. Anyway, Ulpianus is now working together with Rhodes Island, providing support to any matters related to the ocean. Alright, Ulpian is our second 6-star Crusher guard after Hodera. A top tier guard that can do plenty of things. As most of you may already know, Crusher has a very big HP and attack, and they attack multiple enemies equal to their block count. But there's a big problem. They have absolutely zero defense and resistance stats. So every damage they take is pretty much true damage, which makes them quite vulnerable, even when facing a trash mob. So partnering them with a healer is pretty much a must. But this stats also makes them a pretty good counter against arts damage, or straight up against true damage. And is also a great counter to enemies who can reduce defense like Cliff. Can't reduce someone's defense if they don't have one to begin with. Ulpian is also interestingly the only Crusher with a survival tag. While he does have some self-healing abilities that we will talk very soon. But pretty much the best way to ensure his survivability is to partner him with his fellow Abyssal Hunters, notably Gladier. Being part of a faction with the most impactful buff in the game really benefits him. He can get multiple buffs like attack, SP recovery boost, and HP from Skadi and Spectral. But the most impactful buff he gets is no doubt from Gladier, who can provide him damage reduction and regen healing. Having Gladier with her X module at least at level 2 on the field is truly a game changer for Ulpianus. So make sure to partner him with her whenever possible. And in case you are new players, don't worry. Gladier is a free 6-star from Undertide's Intermezzo, and should be easy to locate and borrow in the support operator menu. Moving on, let's see his stats. Much like what I said earlier, Ulpian has big HP and attack, but his defense and resistance are non-existent. Just like my hope for Bloodborne ever coming to PC. His attack is also pretty slow, but it's pretty much in the acceptable parameters. And lastly, he got an average DP cost, which usually won't be a problem to deploy him early into the stage. Next up, let's see his talents. Ulpian's first talent will give him the ability to heal himself whenever he's attacked, and the amount is bigger if his HP falls below 50%. This talent is nice to have, and is especially potent when using his skill 2 that multiplies this talent effect. Using him in stages that is DOT heavy, or have lots of enemies that deal weak damage, but have fast attack. And don't forget, toxic work environment. As for his talent 2, it gives him the ability to further increase his stats for each enemy he killed, which caps at a certain limit. At max it should give him a pretty significant stat boost, and considering his big damage, not to mention if you deploy him early to handle trash mob, it should be an easy talent to maximize. Furthermore, other hunters also get 50% of these buffs. These buffs will be reset if Ulpian leaves the field. But from what I tested, other hunters won't reset this buff if they leave, as long as Ulpian is still on the field. So that should be another good stuff when you're trying to do hella drop with them. Now this is his potential upgrade list. You got something that will reduce his cost, increase his attack, and talent 2 enhancement that increases the maximum stack of buffs he can receive. All in all a good upgrade. But he is already great even without duplicates. Now let's talk about his module. Following CN schedule, Crusher module should be available during the Dungeon Meshi collaboration. So it's still a pretty long way to go. Currently all Crusher only have X module, including Ulpianus. This module will increase the healing amount they received by 20%. And in Ulpianus' case, this module by default will increase his talent 1 healing. Other than that, this module will increase his HP and attack. As for the upgrade, it will enhance his first talent, giving more healing on each level. And now the requirement for the second effect is lowered to 60% at stage 3. It's a good module to increase his self-sustain capability, and increase the healing numbers from other healers. The raw stats is also good. But from my experience, it's not really a must-get module. In most situations, he should be fine without a module, or at least with only the base effect. And I personally think when you decided to build Ulpianus, it's not his XYZ, ABC module that you should be concerned about. It's Gladiator X module. Moving on, let's talk about his skills. Interestingly, each of Ulpian's skills resembles what his fellow hunters do. Like in his skill 1, he has the ability to pull enemies with his anchor, and deal damage to them. The physical damage from this is actually pretty good. And it is notably quick to activate, especially if you partner him with Spectral and her Y module. But I recommend you don't focus on this skill. His other skills can offer better damage, can also offer the extra range, and S2 has better consistency. And this skill is also not good for pulling utility, because the pull level is capped at moderate. So he won't be able to pull level 3 weight enemies. Next, his skill 2. It is an infinite duration skill, and his best skill to use if you want to turn him into the ultimate lane holder. This skill will permanently multiply his talent 1 healing effect, and increasing his attack and max HP. With his talent 2 and module in mind, he should get around 10k HP and 5k attacks with this skill. Not to mention when you partner him with the Abyssal Hunter, or well just Gladiator, you will get one hell of a roadblock that will tank big hits and deal significant blow to the enemies. Last but not least, his skill 3. This is the skill you use if you want Ulpian to unleash his biggest damage. First of all, it will increase his max HP and attack. And on the first hit, his damage will multiply and deal a significant blow to the enemy. But not only that, this first hit has AoE and a long stun. And don't worry, his next attack until the skill ends should also deal a significant blow to the enemies. And not stopping just there, this skill has something that makes Ulpianus unique. And that is his ability to teleport to his frontal tiles. This allows you to do some interesting things with him, like reaching faraway enemies, covering multiple lanes, avoiding attacks, or even reset elemental circle. Probably due to the coding being similar to when you redeploy an operator. At least from what I heard. Lastly, as a cherry on top, this skill has a quick cycle, and you can even deactivate this anytime you want. Alright, for which skill should you master first? It's no doubt his skill 3. This is the skill that makes him unique, and the damage it offers simply can't be ignored. Your next option, or perhaps your first option if you need AFK skill more, is his skill 2, to make him into a stronger lane holder. While skill 1 is pretty much a skip. As for his base skills, Ulpian can speed up mastery training speed for guard and supporter operators by 30%. And on his elite to base skill, he will increase moral consumption. But now increase training speed by plus 10% for each Abyssal Hunters in the base. It is also worth noting that Ulpianus' presence in the base works for other operators' base skills. So ladies and gents, should you get and build Ulpianus? Overall, he is a top tier guard when you partner him with his fellow hunters. In fact, he's considered the perfect operator to get all of the existing Abyssal Hunters buff. But don't get me wrong, he's already a solid guard on his own. And pretty much the only other hunter that will ascend him to the top tier spot is just Gladiator. His biggest weakness is no doubt his trait that makes him vulnerable. But once you partner him with Gladiator, that problem becomes more than fixed. At first you have a guard that can deal massive damage, but is squishy as a price. And now, you have a defender who can deal massive damage. If you are new players, or don't have a very reliable lane holder or boss killer yet, you should definitely get and build him. And if you're new, you should also build a reliable medic alongside him. Building and upgrading Gladiator module at the same time might be a daunting task, but I suppose you can borrow her for the time being. And for veterans who have plenty of guard options, you should also consider him. His overall ability and S3 uniqueness might come in handy, especially if you already built other Abyssal Hunters. That should be all. Adios.